Oh hey, I was just reading through some old comics here and marveling over the talent of this Belgian writer and artist, Hermann. Hermann may not be the best known European commodity, but his work is absolutely prolific and he's been at it for like 5 decades. His Jeremiah books got made into a bad TV series with the guy from Beverly Hills 90210 and the other guy from The Cosby Show. No, not that guy, the other guy. Yeah, anyway. I had the privilege of meeting Hermann at a convention here in Denmark where I showed him my latest book, Stiletto, and here's what he said.
That's not bad.
Okay, so that wasn't the lesson I learned from him. He was a sweet guy and I was thrilled to meet him and buy him a beer after having been a huge fan for like 30 years. The lesson I learned from him are actually all in his books. Let's take a look, and please note that most of my Hermann albums are in Danish, so don't expect to be able to read the dialogue. But we're mainly looking at the pictures, so I think it will still work. Okay, here we go.
Lesson number 1, cinematic storytelling. One of the things Hermann does masterfully is to direct the reader's attention much like a movie editor would. Notice how he cuts from the empty field to the man being chased, then back to the top of the hill. We have to wait for page 2 to see what is chasing him. And that, folks, is how you build suspense that would make Hitchcock cheer. Another twist comes when a man, who we don't even see the skin color of, approaches and pets the cheetahs. So clearly these wild animals are trained somehow. But why? By who? Who is the man? Our curiosity is awakened and we need to read the rest of the book. All because of the cinematic storytelling of these first 3 pages. Lesson number 2, setting the scene. Often Hermann's books have a prologue that introduces the world, the central conflict, or the main antagonist. The cinematic sequence we just looked at is one such example. Here's another from his medieval series, The Towers of Bois-Marie. The prodigal son, Manfred von Kirstein, returns to take over his father's kingdom and is greeted by a former friend. But the meeting goes badly. This scene gives an insight in the world these people inhabit and a glimpse into the motivations behind their actions. It also builds suspense because when our heroes later meet Manfred von Kirstein, they don't know what a horrible villain he is, but we, the readers, do. Lesson number 3, composition and world building. One of the big takeaways for me looking at Hermann's composition is how he makes use of foreground. Often you'll find something poking in, giving the illusion of an entire world just outside the frame. Sometimes it's just shadows that let us know there are trees, rocks, or buildings that we can't see in the frame, but we know that they're there. Hermann also makes great use of nature and the weather to show a world that doesn't really care if the protagonists are in it or not. Life goes on, even outside the frame. Lesson number 4, unforgettable characters. What makes a character memorable is often these little things that don't make sense. In Jeremiah, Curdy Malloy is always seen wearing a helmet with a feather in it. If it's ever explained where that comes from, I must have missed the part of that particular story. In his book, Julius and Romea, we meet the elderly guy, Rocky, who for some reason not only has a blow-up doll join him for his nightly TV watching, but also has a man locked up in a cage in the corner of his apartment. We never exactly know why, like we never know why the old man lives hidden underground. Another example is the burly knight Reinhardt from the book of the same name, who always insists on riding like the devil, even though leaving his companionship behind him often gets him into trouble. Characters become plot, almost seemingly random twists of fate that resemble how real life often plays out. Lesson number 5, desaturation. Sometimes you don't need a whole lot of color. Look at how Hermann makes use of a few select colors in these pages that are almost monochrome. Very effective. It's definitely something I've tried to emulate, or you could say steal, in my book Stiletto. There are many nods to Hermann through the book, like the fact that Maynard rips the pocket of his trench coat, just like this character in Julius and Romea.
It's really rare to see such a prolific artist also be a great writer and graphic storyteller. And it's even rarer to see someone who just keeps churning out great work year after year after year. You could argue that Hermann repeats himself a bit, both in his stories and in the artwork, but the guy is 82 years old and still puts out an album every year or so. And every once in a while he hits pure gold. Definitely worth taking a few lessons from him. Alright, I hope this breakdown gave you some value and inspiration. Now go learn from your favorite artist.